Hey everyone, welcome back to Go Kick Me. Today we have the CarWink, which is a Kickstarter campaign, and the subtitle is Making the Road a More Connected Place. The world's first car device allowing you to communicate with other drivers through animation. Does that make sense? Just watch the video and you will see.
We believe if there were improved communication between drivers, the road can become a better place. This idea led to our creation of CarWink, your faithful little driving companion.
So, as you can see from the image here, it is actually a little LED screen that is on the back windshield of your car, and as you're driving along, you can pick different animations to show the people behind you whatever you want to say to them, like, hey, someone's crossing the street in front of me, that's why I'm so effing slow.
The function allows for a safe and convenient communication between drivers. Fueled by the power of the sun, CarWink's solar charging means you will never have to worry about running out of juice. Built on the foundation of driver interaction, CarWink...
So yeah, I mean, you can see what it is. Basically, like, okay, I'm driving, there's someone behind me, they let me in, I'll say thanks.
We aim to minimize road rage.
And they have all these different kind of cutesy things too. And they say minimizing road rage. So anyway, the cool guy with his cool car, it's golden hour, he's at the coast, he's getting out to check out the sunset. And oh, look who shows up, it's that hottie in the Mini that he said thanks to. She says, oh, you're the nicest driver I ever met. Let's go on a date, big guy. Yeah, so anyway, I'm being cynical here. It's a little cheesy, but I think you get the idea. And yeah, it winks at you too when you turn it off. So I think from a technical point of view, let's look at some of their pictures. Basically, it's actually created by design students, so you can tell it's a little bit maybe over-designed. But basically, it's a suction cup thing here in the top. Just say this green part, whatever that is, topaz part. And then it has this kind of flip-down arm, and then there's the screen. So the idea being that even if you have a slanted, let's say a hatchback with a kind of a slanted back windshield, this thing can sort of hang and show correctly. And then it should still be visible because it's a nice bright LED. The other thing is they mentioned that it has, so even if you're sort of 2 car distances apart, it should be readable. So you can see kind of what it looks like. It's controlled by an app that has both buttons and voice control. So the buttons would be nice, except the problem is if you're driving, that means you got to start pushing buttons, which technically I think is illegal in a lot of places. But it does have voice control, so you can do hands-free as well. So that's cool. Here's some of the animations they have. I'm going to jump ahead a little bit here. If you look at the comments section, 9 out of 10 of the comments and feedback and questions are all about these icons. And almost all of these comments and questions are, can I put my own one in? Because everyone wants to put something rude in. Like, back off, you tailgating MF or whatever. They unfortunately at this point don't do that because it's so ripe for abuse. Probably cause a road rage incident. The whole thing is this is supposed to reduce road rage by saying thanks and sorry for cutting you off and all that kind of stuff. But here's some of the ones. Some of them are actually pretty useful. So this obviously have a great day, party time. Who knows what the hell that's gonna do? But you can say sorry. This one I think is probably the single most useful one is turn off your high beams, and I hope it actually says that too, not just show the picture. Turn on your lights. That's probably pretty useful too. I don't know if guy one or 2 car lengths behind you is going to really need you to tell them there's an accident or police ahead. But it couldn't hurt, I guess. Baby on board. That's an easy one. And pedestrian. The thing is, I just imagine like if you're driving along and you're like, oh, I got to push the pedestrian button. or I gotta shout to this thing. Like, meanwhile, you're gonna run over the freaking pedestrian. Um, so keep a distance. That's probably pretty good too, but it probably will just make the guy behind you mad too. Um, One other thing that's interesting about this, I think, from a technical point of view, is that it has a solar charger built in, which is a good idea. It can also be charged by USB, but the solar charger is actually built into the screen. So I was like, oh, is it here in the suction cup? But the suction cup's here, so obviously it can't be. But they built it into the screen, so I guess it's a semi-opaque, translucent, thin film solar panel that the LEDs can be seen through. So it's great that it covers both. The only other problem is if this is on an angle and this thing is supposed to be kind of up and down to point backwards, that means that the amount of sun on this part will be a lot less. But I guess they can't put it up here, so they had to put it there. But the fact that it has a solar panel to keep it charged is actually pretty awesome. And they make a big thing about how it folds up, and you can do that. But 99 times out of 100, people are gonna be putting it in their car and leaving in their car. So I don't really think it matters that it folds up into a nice little ball and stuff. Here's the part I was talking about with the slanted back windshield versus the vertical one. So in both of these cases, the amount of sunlight that's going to come, it's only if you basically park facing the sunset are you going to get a lot of sun on these two configurations. But yeah, here again is the little ball thing and how you install it. So these graphics are actually pretty decent. They did a pretty good job. For some reason, they felt like the cutesy animations weren't enough, so they made it so that you can also buy these extra, or they'll be unlocked, I guess. There's future stretch goals for little clip-on ears and stuff that they're going to do if you really wanted that. Kind of superfluous to me, but yeah, here's the solar panel. Anyway, go through it. Looks pretty cool. Let's start talking pricing. So I think we're sold out on the early bird pricing, or the super early bird pricing, $79. They do have the early bird still available. So this is $87, and then also regular. So this should last for a little while. But there's only 100 pieces, and then 94, and you can get all kinds of combos, etc. And it's supposedly patent pending. So these guys are from Taiwan. At least some of them are from Taiwan, but they're based in California now. So it's not one of those kind of sketchy ones from China where they're pretending to be somewhere where they're not, which I have reviewed in the past if you've seen those. Anyway, let's go back up here and just look at the numbers. So they have raised only $51,000, and they've only got 19 days to go. They have sold or gotten backed by 450 people, so that's pretty good. But they still have 29,000 or so to go, and only 2.5 weeks. So this one's going to be a squeaker. It's not going to be multiple thousands of percent over, but it's going pretty well, I guess. And then super early bird, and they'll ship to anywhere. And there's 47 left. So don't wait too long, otherwise you're going to be paying an extra $7. So I always find it funny, like somebody actually paid the extra $7 either because they clicked on the wrong one, or they're like, oh, that totally feels like it's worth $94, not $87. So some people are just giving a little extra money to support. I guess that's good. They do have some videos showing how it's used. If you want to check that out, click on the link. So this one I'm actually going to give, I'm pretty positive on it. The only thing is, of course it would be way more fun if you could program your own things. And everyone knows you would do like, okay, F you, you jerk, or back off, dickhead, or whatever. Pardon my French. But there's obviously reasons why they probably shouldn't allow you to do that. The only other kind of potential pitfalls or caveats is, small one is if you've got a small window, it's blocking your back window to some degree. So keep that in mind. I guess you can keep it low on the window so it's sort of in your blind spot, which would be sort of behind your headrest or whatever. But it is taking up some window real estate, so keep that in mind. There's some question if this is legal in all states and stuff, so you obviously want to check that too before you get it. The other thing is, how do you actually control this thing? So you've got to have the smartphone thing turned on and open to use it, which means you've got to run with your phone open, and then on top of that, the real big downer to me is you've got to run with this thing with the phone open to this app, right? So that means I can't use Google Maps on my phone, or I can't leave Google Maps open on my phone. I've got to have it open to the CarWink app all the time. And then I have to make sure every time I turn it on also that my Bluetooth or whatever connects to it. So that's going to be kind of a pain. And I can just imagine a lot of times you get in the car and you're like, oops, I forgot to turn this thing on. Or, oops, I left my phone in my wallet and in my purse or whatever. And then the other thing is, since this thing is solar powered, it's not like a dash cam, which would be powered directly from, your 12-volt cigarette lighter, and every time you start the car, it gets turned on and turned off when you turn the car off. So if this thing is running on batteries plus solar power, does it like automatically wake up when it feels you moving, or what? They don't mention it at all, so I'm pretty much guessing you have to push it, right? Which means you have to open up your trunk or whatever, reach in the back seat, push the button. They show some button here somewhere. To turn this thing on, and then pair it, and then drive off, right? So to me, that's kind of a huge pain in the butt, right? I can just imagine, like, after, the fifth or sixth time, there's our power button, I guess, yeah. You end up forgetting to use it, and then you're like, oh man, I wish I could give a thanks to that person behind me, but I totally forgot to turn this thing on. So, yeah. There's probably better ways of doing it. Maybe if you have a back 12-volt power supply in the back and you have a DC adapter, it might turn itself on when the power goes on and off. I don't know. But if they haven't done that, they probably should. Just because turning this thing on and off manually is going to be a pain. So anyway, they're also not too over-promising on this. So they're going to say finish by December. I think it's whatever. Around Christmas it'll be done. By New Year's maybe. And then January they're debuting it at CES. And they're not actually going to start mass production until April. Which means for some reason, I guess that's starting mass production. Which means that you wouldn't get yours until June. Which is a good 6-7 months off. So have a little patience, but overall, I'm going to give this one a thumbs up. Looks pretty cool. It's an interesting idea, even if the execution maybe could be improved. Who knows? By the time that this thing comes out, maybe they'll have it work. Like they actually use the Siri API to do the voice recognition, so they could actually also maybe make it work directly from Siri. So if you have Siri voice activation on, you could say, "Hey Siri, have CarWink turn on the turn off your high beams animation or whatever," and then you don't have to actually directly open the app every time. If they can do that, that would actually be pretty cool. So anyway, I'm going to ramble a little bit longer, but long story short, check it out. I'm giving it a thumbs up. Click the link in the description if you want to check it out on Kickstarter. I do get a small commission if you do buy it, so full disclosure, letting you guys know that. Check us out on Facebook and on Twitter at GoKickMe. And definitely check out our other GoKickMe reviews of other popular Kickstarter, Indiegogos, and sooner or later we'll get around to doing a GoFundMe one too. But we're dealing with design, we're dealing with tech products, we're dealing with electronics, basically all the cool shit. Check it out and stick around and see more of our stuff. Okay, bye.